My mother said it so casually, like she was commenting on the weather. "There's just no room for the kids this year, Maya." Her voice was gentle, polite. The kind of softness that cuts sharper than any scream. I glanced at the photo she just posted. My sister's twins by the lake house fireplace, golden light wrapping around them like privilege. Even their dog had a monogrammed blanket. My children, not even a mention. That was the moment something in me froze. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just smiled into the phone, said, "Of course, Mom," and hung up. Then I opened my laptop and bought something no one in my family could ever ignore. A penthouse in New York City. When they found out, the shift was instant. Suddenly there was room for everyone. "Maya, we're all coming to your place this year." My mother's tone dripped with newfound affection. "Sure you are." Before I tell you how that conversation ended, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Because this time I finally made room for the truth. My name is Maya Grant. I'm 34, a mother of 2, and the invisible thread in a family tapestry that always left me out of the frame. My sister Claire, the golden one, 3 years older, born with that effortless glow that made everyone fall in love with her. My younger brother Noah, the baby, charming, gentle, adored. And me? I was the in-between. The quiet one. The filler space between their spotlight and comfort. We grew up in Connecticut, where the lawns were manicured and so were people's smiles. My father was an accountant, my mother a teacher. Structure was their religion. Appearances were sacred. At dinner, conversations always orbited around Claire. Her grades, her trophies, her college acceptances. I learned early how to stay quiet, how to exist politely. When I left for college in Boston, no one asked what I wanted to study. I picked finance because it sounded respectable. Eventually, it became my life. I worked late, traveled often, and built my career piece by piece until I became an investment director. That's where I met Daniel, my ex-husband. Ambitious, organized, charming. For a while, we were a mirror of everything my parents wanted, the picture-perfect couple with a plan. Then life happened. Kids came, exhaustion set in, and love turned into logistics. He chased excitement. I chased stability. When the divorce papers came, it wasn't a storm, it was winter. Quiet, cold, final. That first Thanksgiving alone, I thought my parents would open their arms wider. Instead, my mother's voice came through the phone like a knife wrapped in silk. "Maybe you should come alone this year, honey. It's just so crowded." Crowded. A word that would echo through years of holidays. Each time I'd see photos of Claire's family smiling by the 12-foot Christmas tree, my children would ask the same question. "Why doesn't Grandma want us there?" I never had an answer. So, I'd bake cookies and tell them we were starting our own traditions. But one night, my daughter looked up from her cocoa and whispered, "Do you think Grandma likes the dog more than us?" That night, I cried so quietly in the shower that the water could hide the sound. Why the next year? I already knew what was coming. My mother's rehearsed regret. My father's silence. Another maybe next time. And then one summer, my brother texted me a photo. Claire's kids smiling in the newly renovated basement. The one my mother swore was flooded. Above them hung a sign. "Family makes this house a home." That was the breaking point. It wasn't about space, it was about value. I realized my children and I had been written out of their story. And I was done playing the quiet chapter. So I made a decision. I'd build a space no one could erase us from. Not for revenge, for reclamation. I started searching for apartments in New York. My financial advisor said, "You could buy something incredible." I did. A penthouse overlooking Central Park. For bedrooms, sunlight in every corner. A terrace that touched the skyline. I didn't tell my family. I just started rebuilding. My daughter painted murals on her wall. My son covered the ceiling with glowing constellations. On quiet nights, I'd stand on the terrace and think they'll never be able to say there's no room again. Then the phone rang. My mother, of course. "Maya, about Thanksgiving. We're hosting again, but Claire's bringing the twins and the dog, so it might be a little tight." I smiled. "That's okay, Mom. I won't be coming this year. The kids and I are hosting in New York." A pause. Then curiosity replaced her fake concern. "New York? You moved. Penthouse. Upper East Side." The silence that followed was heavy, the sound of her reordering her pride. "Oh my goodness, Maya. That sounds lovely. Maybe we could all come there this year." There it was. The shift. Suddenly, no room didn't exist anymore. Now there was space as long as it came with a view. Within days the texts started rolling in. Claire. Mom says you got a penthouse. The twins would love to see the parade. We'll stay with you. Then my father. It would mean a lot to your mother if we all came together. Family is important, especially now that you've done so well. Now that I've done so well. The words tasted like rust. I finally said what I'd never dared before. Anyone who didn't make room for my children before doesn't get a seat at our table now. Thanksgiving morning arrived golden and crisp. My terrace glowed in the sunlight, the table set with white linens and laughter. My friend Tyler was there, he'd seen me through everything. My brother came too, holding guilt and flowers. You shouldn't have gone through this alone, he said. Then don't let it happen again, I told him. And for the first time, I felt something real peace when the elevator doors opened later. My parents stood there with a pie and nervous smiles. Maya, this is beautiful, my mother said. Thank you, I replied. Dinner's over, but dessert's still warm. They froze, realizing this wasn't the reunion they expected. My father crouched awkwardly beside my kids. We haven't been the grandparents you deserve, he said. We made excuses instead of space. That was wrong. My mother's voice trembled. Can you forgive us? I stayed quiet. This wasn't my apology to accept. My daughter looked up, her voice small but steady. Will you come to my art show next month? My father nodded quickly. Of course. And can we sleep at your house sometimes? Not on the floor. Tears filled my mother's eyes. You'll have your own room, sweetheart. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. For the first time, I felt the weight begin to lift. Then my phone buzzed. Claire. Can't believe you didn't invite us. Mom said it's incredible up there. The twins are heartbroken. Even Bentley's sad, lol. I typed slowly. Actually, Claire, for once it's about my kids. If you want to be part of their lives again, start with an apology. To them, not me. She never replied. But I didn't need her to. Over the months that followed, something shifted. My parents started showing up, small, steady, trying. They came to my daughter's art show, clapped at my son's play, called just to ask how the kids were doing. Guilt had finally turned into effort. Claire stayed distant. And honestly, that was fine. Not every story ends with reconciliation. Some just end with peace. Work blossomed too. I got promoted, started mentoring younger women who reminded me of the version of myself that used to shrink to fit in. I told them, never beg for a seat at someone else's table. Build your own. And decide who's worthy to sit there. One Saturday morning, I woke to the smell of pancakes. My kids were cooking, flour everywhere. Laughter bouncing off marble walls. We're practicing for next Thanksgiving, my daughter said proudly. We're hosting again, right? Always. I smiled that evening. I stood on the terrace as the city lights flickered alive. For years I thought peace meant staying silent. But silence isn't peace. It's surrender. Peace is the sound of your children laughing freely in a home no one can take away. If you've ever been told there's no room for you, remember this. You don't need their invitation. You build your own space. You decide who earns a seat.